Welcome to today's episode of Wellness Wednesdays. I'm Dr. Katherine Y. Brown, your host. When I tell you that you are in for a treat today, it is not an understatement. We have the Honorable Zulfat, also affectionately known to many of us as Z, in the virtual studio with us today. Welcome,
Oh
Z.
my.
Let me
Oh,
say this. I do not take it lightly that one of the hardest working women in Nashville has taken time out to be here on this episode. So let me say thank you so much for your time and just for making time for us today.
oh, thank you for having me. What are you talking about? It's my honor to be here for everything that you do for our girls, for our community, for our wellness. The honor is mine, and I'm just glad. When you asked if I was going to come, I was like, oh my God. It's me. Thank you for letting me come and speak with your audience today.
Thank you. So for viewers, because this broadcast actually goes around the world, I want
Mm.
them to know about you. So can you just tell us about your background, how you got started, because you do wear a lot of different hats in the community. So who is the Honorable Zulfat or Z?
Oh, thank you, thank you. Well, I'm one of the council members in Nashville. I'm a council member at large, meaning that I represent all of Nashville and Davidson County. I was elected in 2019. I was the first Muslim elected to council, and actually the first immigrant to win a county-wide election in Nashville, and also the first Muslim elected to the state of Tennessee. And as far as we know, the first Nigerian woman elected in the United States. So when I ran, I had no idea about all of those first. It just came by and I was like, oh, okay. Uh, um, but in addition to that, I work as the executive director of grants and contracts at Meharry Medical College. I'm a CPA by training. I'm a certified public accountant. I had my private firm for a number of years. I work with one of the top 40 firms in the world, KPMG, for a number of years before deciding to settle down and take this job at Meharry. But not only that, I think for the last over 20 years, I've been what you call an activist, a community organizer. And so I had the opportunity to work with different organizations. One of them is the American Muslim Advisory Council that works with Muslims across the state of Tennessee. I was the chair for about 6 or 7 years, where we're just trying to say, look, let's tell our story. There's a lot of Islamophobia out there, people misrepresenting us. And so we need to tell our story. We need to bridge the gap. We need to talk about who we are. I was a state president of Business and Professional Women, an organization that work with enhancing the status of women at the workplace. I was with the Women Political Caucus. I founded the Junior Achievement of Admin County. Basically, in a nutshell, I'm a community organizer. I believe that we have a responsibility to make whatever community we find ourselves better. Most of what I do is by accident. I started Junior Achievement when I found out the high school graduation rate in Adamant County was very low as a way to help. I ran for office in Adamant County when I found out that a lot of the students don't get enough help from the guidance counselor. Sometimes guidance counselor focus on kids that are performing very well. And some kids, they just figure out they're not going to college anyway. So I ran for office in Nashville when I realized that our schools in Nashville are not getting equal resources. My kids went to school in both West Nashville and North Nashville, and I could see the disparity in what resources the school have. And I was like, we cannot do that. You know, we need to give all of our children equal opportunity. We need to be able to support their social and emotional learning. We put a lot of trauma on our kids. When we don't pay women well, when women are being paid 80 cents to what a guy makes, and we know that more than half of the single parents home are women. And then we want these women to go into 2, 3, 4 jobs to put food on the table, but then we blame them for not being home for the kids. Or when our system is a school to prison pipeline, when half of our Black men are being incarcerated, and then we wonder how these kids are surviving. We have children that live in neighborhoods where there's violence all the time. But we want them to come to the school and sit down quietly and learn math and English when the kid is still hungry, haven't eaten anything.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
some of our kids are homeless. And so there's a whole lot that goes into. So as a community person, seeing all of those things and realizing that, look, not all politicians are bad, but a good number of them are ignorant. They don't know what's going on with the people. They don't know what the people want. And so as somebody who's a part of the community, who's worked in the community, I wanted to bring my voice, the voice of the people that I represent. And I wear so many hats. I'm an immigrant, a Muslim, a woman, I'm Black. And so I come from so many communities, and all of our issues are intertwined. And so that was why I ran for office in Nashville, and I've been blessed to have the opportunity to serve for 4 years. I think we did a lot of good in that time, and I'm actually running for election in August. So I hope I get the opportunity to do this for another 4 years.
I love it. I love the overview. I've always loved your passion because, there are people that know something needs to be fixed and they just keep saying it needs to be fixed. And then there are those people that say, hey, I'm going to be a part of the change that I want to see, and I'm going to make an impact by listening to the voices of the people.
Yes.
It can't just be an issue. You have to go into the community, listen to the community, respond to the community, continue to listen. And so that's just your trajectory. But I want to talk about wellness first, because how do you just take care of your own health and wellness while also taking care of the health and wellness of everyone else? And run for office. I mean, that is Friday, May 19th, 2023, and you are moving and shaking every day.
Yeah, and it's very good topic, because I think, like you said, as mothers, as community organizers, as everything you do, we juggle so many things, and oftentimes we're so busy talking about other people, focusing about everybody, that we forget ourselves. And so in my world, which is very crazy with everything else that I have to do, one thing that I do when I do get home after a very long day, I don't go to bed immediately. I actually sit down and unwind. I'll have something to drink. I don't drink alcohol, so it's water or juice. And then I just pick up, during COVID, I pick up watching K-drama with my last child, my baby. And so we'll watch something, something not heavy. When you watch the news all day and listen to what's going on, your heart is heavy. When you're in the community all day and seeing all the injustice in the world, your heart is very heavy. And so a way that I try to keep myself focused is to just unwind and just let all of that go and refocus and thinking about, okay, where am I? What am I doing? My faith is a big part of what I do. And so meditating and praying is also a part of wellness for me. I can do a better job with what I eat and exercising. That's a goal, but I do know that part of what we do is psychological, and part of our wellness is psychological. And to be able to see this trauma every day, you cannot help people if you're not in a good state of mind yourself. And so having the opportunity to just wind down, to do something that is just me, and that could just be watching TV. And just laughing and just being goofy and knowing that it's a fiction and just nothing serious, that I can walk away from, that's actually help my mental well-being as I do this work.
Oh, I love it. If we think about coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, I mean, the height of everything that's going on. And what we saw was that the needs of our community, they were there, but I mean, it put a flashlight, right?
Oh my God, yes, it
everything.
Did. It did.
So when you think about, I would say, health and wellness and advocacy and health equity, what are some takeaways that we can actually implement? Because we learned a lot, some things we knew, but where do we go from here, I suppose is my question, as we think about advancing health equity to reach the needs of these vulnerable groups.
Well, thank you. Like you said, oh my God, COVID just showing it. We know there's inequity everywhere. We know there's a big disparity for Black and Brown communities, but yes, COVID just made that so obvious. One of the things that we could do immediately, that we were able to do, and that we have to continue, because I have to speak as an elected official, is that I have the opportunity, as I'm making decisions, to make sure that I'm thinking about those communities that were impacted. So one of the things that we actually did during COVID, which I love, was that when we first started the testing, the city was going to be testing downtown at the Nissan Stadium. But a couple of us on the minority caucus said, look, you cannot do that. I have constituents in North Nashville that don't have cars. I have immigrants in Southeast that cannot get to Nissan Stadium. And so we changed that. That was how you got all this testing. And thank God for Meharry being an institution that focused on Black community, stepping in and helping out. And so with the state and Meharry and the city, we ended up doing testing in different places across the city and across the state. We were able to go to churches and mosques. And so when it came to giving out food, when it comes to everything COVID, we realized that our services, we have to go through the mom and pops organizations that are on the ground, the churches, the mosque, the synagogue, that are reaching people on a weekly basis, because we cannot get to everyone. I think that's part of something that we were able to do and we have to continue to do. That as we're making decisions, how we're making sure that we're looking at who is not at the table and how do we reach all of our constituents. As a community, another lesson that we learn is that one of the reasons why COVID was more negatively impacted people of color is because of economic wealth. A lot of people in our community cannot afford not to go to work. They cannot afford to take time off. And even though it's very dangerous, people that can afford to just stay away from work, but we couldn't.
That's right.
How do we help our community have economic power? How do we help our community have wealth? How do we teach our community to have their own businesses, to be their own bosses? That's our responsibility. Because if we do not have that economic wealth, then people don't have a choice. And so if there's another pandemic, people will feel like they have to go because they have to put food on the table. So that's something that as a community, we need to start looking at, is that the economic power of our community, we need to start building on it, enhancing on it, and making sure that everyone has something. Another thing that I found out was that because as a community of our experience with Tuskegee and some things that's been done to us, there was a lack of trust in the government. And there are people in our community that would not take the vaccine initially. But when somebody like Dr. Ildred stepped up, who is my boss at Meharry, and who is an infectious disease person, and saying, look, this is good for us, it's been tested, then a lot of us believe in that. So what that tells me is that we need to increase the number of minorities in those spaces. We need to be able to have our people making those calls, because then when I go into the Muslim community and I'm talking to the mosque and I'm saying, look, this vaccine is good, it's been tested, you should take it. They trust my word more than somebody else that they don't know. And so how do we make sure that we support our institutions of learning that are producing Black doctors, that are producing Black lawyers, that are producing. So that's what I think as a community we have to start thinking about. And I think some of the solution will be short term, but some of them will be long term, because I think it's a long game that we have to think about in terms of how do we not stay in servitude forever? Yeah. How do we have generational wealth? How do we make sure that, when I'm gone, my kids have a place to live and don't have to worry about it? And so those are the kind of things that COVID has shown us. We know it's there. I think COVID just made the urgency of, look, people, we need to do something and we better do it now.
I love that. You mentioned something about community and collaboration, and I want to talk about that. I was having a conversation with a colleague. This colleague is in Murfreesboro, and they were talking about, hey, we need to come from Murfreesboro to Nashville to help Nashville. And what I was saying to them is that Nashville is a very unique community, and we already have a powerful infrastructure and community of our own, so much so that we usually are the ones that go out and help the Murfreesboro and the other people. So it was funny. She was like, well, we need to come to Nashville, and do you all need us? And I said, I don't think you know about the power of collaboration of Nashville. Yes. So I would love for you to talk to the power of our Nashville. You talk about, this speaking in our own voice. Nashville has built a powerful infrastructure of collaboration that's unlike sometimes any around the country, right?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on collaboration as it relates to what Nashville does to help Nashville? Because we're doing it.
We do it, and we do it in ways that people are very envious.
That's right.
The power that is here is amazing, and you can see the results. Oh, yeah. I tell everyone, sometimes people hear about the craziness that goes on. I'll use the Muslim community as an example. When people did not want the mosque being built in Murfreesboro, we have a mosque that was much down. So the people are like, what are you doing in Tennessee? What are you doing in Nashville? It's a crazy place. And I thought, no, what you see, it's like a very small percentage of things. The people in Nashville are so powerful and so collaborative. If we would not elect a Muslim in Nashville. I tell everybody that me being elected, especially county-wide, over 30 something votes is because of that collaboration that we've been doing in Nashville that a lot of people don't know about. I've seen so much interfaith work. I've seen Jews take a bus to go visit mosque. I've seen churches come to the mosque. I've seen mosques go to the churches. I mean, the interfaith work is so amazing. Then when you look at our healthcare people too, you have Vanderbilt and Meharry having an alliance. You have Meharry working with FISC. You have Meharry working with TS. You have so we collaborate a lot here than people give us credit for. And I think that is just so we're very welcoming. That's another thing. In the last 4 years, we've had tornadoes, we've had flood, we've had bombing, but you know what always come through? That collaboration, that power of working together, that power of Nashvilleans always stepping up for each other.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I can say this as somebody who moved here many years ago that I've seen it evolve over the years. I've seen us stand up for each other over and over and over again and work together in so many ways. So now there's no perfect system. There are things we can do better. There are people that are still not part of it. There are people that there's still some things we need to work on in terms of making our community better. Our justice system, housing needs to be better. There's a lot of things we need as a city. But when it comes to a community that works together, that stands by each other, that supports each other, that collaborates with each other. I've lived in a lot of cities in the US. I've lived in other countries in the world. Nashville does it better than anybody.
I agree. I could not have said that. Listen, if you are watching this, I want you to hear what she said. Nashville does it better. Like anybody. And Nashville has an infrastructure, and we come together and we support Nashville.
We support Nashville. We support
the best
Nashville.
Places to live.
It is. And we'll continue to make it better because of all of that. When the tornado happened in North Nashville, by the time I woke up, got the news, and I got to Reverend Harold Love's church in Jefferson, there were so many people there. Equity Alliance was out there. People were helping their neighbors. People were cleaning up stuff. I mean, it was just, and then Stand Up Nashville and Equity came, and they were even telling people that don't sell your hand to people that are trying to, because people were trying to take advantage of those that had their homes affected. They were trying to, and so immediately organization got up. There was it was so quick in terms of the response. And then when you look at the food, I mean, there's already stuff set up. It was just so, it was so beautiful to see. It was a time of tragedy, but seeing how people come together so fast to protect each other, to rally, not just the food, not just the cleaning, but to say, we're not gonna let you lose your home. We're gonna, it was just so beautiful. And I've seen, you, Tequila, Charlene, so many powerful women, Shayna, Ingrid, all of us, always Sabina. It's just so beautiful to be a part of and to see that collaboration. So I will say it, and I will say it again, and I will say it anywhere, anytime. Nashville does it better than anywhere else.
That's it. I love it. I remember that day too, because I had the Scholarship KYB Leadership Academy, which is my program. And we took the young people and we walked into the communities because some of the people couldn't come out because they were scared the homes would get stolen. So we were like, what do you need? And then we quickly assembled a backpack drive, and we had all these with health supplies and toiletries and waters and stuff. And we literally walked in the areas because maybe you couldn't even, because trees were down. You couldn't even
down
areas. And so you're right. It was like this network of, then you go back to the church and say, hey, well, this person is here. And you could begin to tell people where people are. You're right. We were on the ground within hours, minutes.
And was it not beautiful how the church was open up? Immediately as like a center for us to walk, and everybody was there. Representative Love did an amazing job. It's just so beautiful to see, and everybody coming together and just helping the neighbor. And those are the kind of things that, when we talk about all the things that we're not doing and the things that we ought to do, which is a whole lot, but thinking about what we do and what we do well, which is actually caring about each other, it's wonderful. I'll say this really quickly. I met a guy, I was talking to a guy about 2 nights ago, and I said, I live in Houston, I live in DC, and I'm naming some places that I've lived. And she said, which one is your favorite? I said, Nashville. And he said, why? I said, you see, when I live in Houston, Houston people are very nice. I'll take nothing away from them, but not to strangers that they don't know very well. And so you're forcing an elevator with them, they will smile, but you can see that they're not sure whether they should or not. In DC, nobody has time for you. Everybody's just, they'll bump into you and keep going. But in Nashville and in Tennessee, people will stop and smile and wave at somebody they've never met before.
That's right.
When I first moved to this town, I was like, what? People will be waving, and I mean, you walking along the street, people make eye contact with you, they will smile. That's who we are. That Southern hospitality is so embedded in the majority of the people. I mean, I'm not naive. Not everybody's like that.
Right.
But majority of the people, like, people will stop and say, hey, hi. And it's something that I see in Tennessee. Even when I live in Bolivar, it was the same thing. And so that Southern hospitality is there. And people take it very seriously. And people are very, very kind, very kind.
I love it. So, all right. So let's talk about, where do we go from here? Where do you envision yourself in the next 5 years? I know it's a tough question, but I'm just so curious. Where are we going? What are we doing?
Well, I've had the opportunity to serve the city for about 4 years, and I believe it's a great honor and a privilege. I think it's an opportunity for me to bring my thoughts and my findings and my experience to the table to help shape the city that we live in. And I think we've done that in a good way. So what I'm hoping to do is, and I know this isn't, sorry, I don't mean to campaign, but I am running for re-election, and I hope people listening will help me get there. There's so many people running, and we cannot take any vote for granted. I would love the opportunity to continue to serve on council. I think that we spent the last 4 years putting out a lot of fires. It's about time we start to reinvest in our community. A lot of people are still not feeling it. People are not where they ought to be, and we need to do more for our citizens. And I hope I get the opportunity to do that. So I'm hoping that people will vote for me as a council member at large, Z, and put me back. And then we'll do that. I hope in 4 years we are at a better place with the people of Nashville. All this growth that has happened, they feel like it's working for them. People are happy in their place. People can afford to stay in their homes. Our family can stay together. We would have solved homelessness, reduced it drastically. We would have had taking care of our education system, put more funding. That disparity in schools is gone down some. I hope it continues to go down. So that's what I hope for in 4 years. And then after that, I come back and tell you what I'm doing next after that. But for now, I just want to be reelected, and I hope I get the opportunity to do that.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for all that you do. I always like to give my guests the opportunity to take a closing thought and share anything that you want to share that I have not asked you, and also share your contact information. There are people who want to get in touch with you, follow you on social media. So if you have a website, a social media page, anything you want to share, and how can people find out about you and the work that you're doing?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I should have come here sooner. Get a free advertisement. Oh my God. Thank you. And thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you so much. This is very important. So I appreciate it. My final thoughts, what I tell everybody is that people should get involved. People should do something. People should be part of the solution. We all have different skill sets. We all don't do the same thing. Some of us can talk, some of us can write, but we have to do something. We live in a world that is very challenging, and there's so many things that our kids are facing that we did not face, and it keeps getting worse. It feels as if we take one step forward, and sometimes some of the things we do, we're taking 10 steps backward. But it's going to take all of us. This is our time to be able to do something, and I hope that everybody do something. And the least you can do is to vote. We have a responsibility to make sure we're deciding the people that are representing us. So I encourage everybody, please, 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 and please, and please, go out and vote. Go out and vote is very important. My contact information, zulfatswara.com, no dot. zulfatswara.com is my website. I love the blog that I do there. I break down the budget for the season, for the city. You can read them up in there. You can sign up for my newsletter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. My cell phone is 615-585-2558. And if you want to email me, it's Zulfat, ZULFAT .suara, SUARA @nashville.gov. I respond to every email. I really do. You might get an email from me at 3 a.m. But I will say this. I respond to email that I sent to me directly. If you send it to Zulfat.suara, I will respond. If you send it to council members at Nashville, that means all 40 of us get it. I don't respond to that. If you do like a form thing where everybody's filling out a form and I get 1,000 of that, I'm not going to respond. But if it's something that is sent to me on any topic whatsoever, I respond to every single email. And so I welcome your thoughts. I welcome your questions. We don't know everything. And so the only way I can serve you best is if you let me know what we need so that we can do it together.
Let me tell you, this is a first. You have an elected official who just shared the cell phone number, the email, all of the information. Thank you for your transparency, for your accessibility, for being available and listening, because I do know that about you. You do respond to everyone. And sometimes people think, oh, it's just a photo, and that's not who you are. So I just want to thank you for your service and helping us to live well in our community, to be the best, to take the opportunity to embrace life. And this is why we keep having the conversations about health and wellness, because life matters.
Life matters. Life matters. Thank you for what you do. And honestly, I appreciate it so much. I follow you and your work with the girls. I mean, it's just inspiring. And that's part of it, helping the next generation and helping us do better, right? Helping us take care of our health. All of that. Thank you so much. It's a great honor to know you, and you're one of the people that I look up to. And so the respect is very mutual. Thank you so much.
Thank you. For our viewers around the world, please like this message, share this message, follow it. We want people that to meet the Honorable Z. Until next time, stay healthy, be well, and live your best life ever, because the day matters. I'm Dr. Katherine Y. Brown. Thank you for tuning in to Wellness Wednesdays.
Thank you.
Thank you, Z.